What's good, kids? How's it going? Mr. Trutman. I'm back, feasting on some Cheez-Its. Because you gotta have something to snack on when you keep recording all these videos. But anyways, and I got some cranberry juice. Yeah. But anyways, I'm gonna stop joking with y'all. Let's get started. I'm here today primarily to help y'all learn about how to break down shapes in a realistic drawing. That's what our lesson's gonna be about today. For my people who are like, oh my gosh, no, Mr. Trump, you always make us draw real stuff. You're gonna do more of it. So get ready. So that's why I'm preparing you now, so that you can get used to doing this process. And over time, as we practice it, you're gonna get it if you're doing the work. Okay. Again, if you're doing the work, you're gonna get this. If not, I don't know what to tell you, player. So let's get started. I'm gonna make this real quick. I'm gonna try to make it as fast as I can. In this picture, you have cylinders galore. You have spheres, right? Galore. You have cones. Same stuff y'all drew like 3 weeks ago, right? 3 or 4 weeks ago. You have all these things in the picture. And you eat, well, we don't have any of these guys. This cube. But that's alright though, because we don't need him. Even though Mr. Cube do a lot of stuff for us, we don't need him. Here's the key to this though. There's a lot of curves, right? You see this curve? This curvy stuff. You got a lot of curves in here. A lot of contours inside of our, on the outside of our forms that we see here. These pairs, they have a lot of contours. And remember what contour lines do. Contour lines help us understand the form of an object, the three-dimensional form of an object. It helps us understand if it's curving, if it's round, if it's flat, all that type of stuff. If you have a contour that's a flat straight line, that means the surface is flat. If you have a contour that is curving, that means the surface is round. Okay. And with that being said, if you know that you can look at this and see that the contour of it is not straight, then you know that you should not shade this in with solid values. Okay, do y'all understand what I'm saying? A solid value is just a straight gray or black. If you're doing if you're shading in the object that's curving, it's going to be a gradient as it changes from light to dark. Okay, there's going to be a gradient somewhere, and I can give you the evidence to prove that. Look here. Pay close attention. Look at my pear right here. Mr. Pear, look at him. Do you see? Just like with a sphere, y'all, Mr. Pear has a very light space, light spot right here. It's the brightest spot, just like I said when I taught y'all the thing about the sphere. You had to learn about the sphere, and then the area goes slowly from light to dark. Why? It's because there is a gradient happening here, because this object is curved. It has a contour that's curving. Okay, so that lets you know that this is a round object. If you've ever eaten a pear, you've had one in your hands before, you had to study it. This pear looks good, nice and round and plump. I'm gonna eat it. And you're gonna eat the pear, and the pear tastes great. But before you ate the pear, you analyzed it, and you noticed that the pear is round, just like an apple and just like some other fruit, right? So the point here is you have to pay attention. Whoops, y'all always destroy pictures. You have to pay attention to the fact that if it's rounded, there's going to be a gradient, a slow change from light to dark. If it is a flat object like a cube, it is going to have plain, really simple, with no change, straight flat values. It's going to be like a cube with no changing. It's not going to be a gradient going across the side. Okay, if it's flat like a cube, always remember, if it's flat like a cube, no gradient. If it is round like any of these jokers here, it is gradient. You're gonna have a gradient when there is shading, okay? Y'all got me? Just keep that in mind. It's never gonna fail you. I promise you, you're gonna understand. In many cases, you'll rarely see a gradient on a cube. But for these guys, when you see those light round spots, it's almost guaranteed there's some kind of curvage going on here, okay? Almost guaranteed. Now let's keep this going. So we know these things are round. Now, the way you start off a drawing is you have to break it down into shapes. Don't ever try to go straight into this drawing details. Don't ever do that. I want you to think about this like shapes. So when you start this off, here's how we're gonna do it. I'm gonna turn him down because we need to be able to draw on top of him, and I want y'all to see the lines, okay? Now, look at my man's here. We're gonna look at this pair. Now, normally, which one y'all think this would be? This one, this one, this one, or this one? Obviously, it's not the cube, right? So it might be more of this one here, is what I would say. If you looked at the shape of this pair, you probably would be like, all right, it's a cone. But it's not quite a cone, is it? Look at how these curves here are happening, right? Then you got this thing going on right here, and we'll break that down in a second. What I would rather do is look at this and maybe break it up into more pieces. If you look at the pear, pay attention to the top of the pear and the bottom half of the pear, okay? Like the top half of the pear is kind of like a cone, right? It's kind of more in the shape of a cone. But the bottom half of the pear is a sphere. How do I know it's a sphere? Look at that. Doesn't it resemble this shape? This glare here has the same thing going on. So it's more similar to a sphere. So you kind of want to put this in pieces, and then you kind of remember, just like I drew the body and I drew the legs for y'all, and then we put the legs together and connected together with the foot by drawing a line around everything. That's kind of how you got to go around about this at first. So, and once you put the pieces together, you build it together, right? You put the bricks together and boom, now we got this shape, and you can kind of fix it up and curve around it the way you need to help you. And that's just to help you understand it. Once you get good enough to see this without having to draw it, you're gonna skip that step naturally, okay? It's gonna become way easier for you to move past that. All right, let's look at this guy here. Here's a cylinder. Obviously, we know we got some kind of cylindrical shape, right? Because it's round and there's a gradient, right? Got some light to some dark. Got me? Cool. Now look at this top part here. What does that remind you of? This, or this guy? Bing, this guy right here. He gets all the attention today. This cone. The difference is our cone is kind of doing this curve shape, like a sorry, one of those pieces from the board game. So we're gonna draw him right on top, right? And then just like a cone, there's a light spot here, and it gets darker over here, right? And the darker area is still over here for this guy, and the lighter area is about right here for this cylinder. You see how I'm kind of building the shapes on top of each other like building blocks? And that's kind of how you got to break this stuff down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start setting up the images for your next project into an assignment. Excuse me if I'm all up in y'all ear. I'm going to put that into your next assignment. And after you practice this with this picture, I want you to go to the assignment you're going to be drawing for the next couple of days. Before you turn it in, I want you to practice blocking it out. And for the next couple of days, you're going to block it out. Think about the shading and stuff and shade it in. Just like we would. If you draw a circle here, you know this is a sphere here, shade this part in like a sphere. This part here, shade it in like a cone. You got me? Because a cone, this is a cone and a sphere put together. Does that make sense? You're merging the ideas of how to do these things together, and that's what you're learning to do this time in this project. The last time I taught you how to do the shapes individually. Now you got to draw them and put them together, and then block it out to help you be able to draw these things over here. Okay, that way you can start making some realistic drawings and be like Mr. Trutman, you know, especially if you want to become an artist. If you that kid that wants to become an artist, you need to know this. Okay, so I'm pretty much done. I think that should be efficient enough and sufficient enough for y'all. I mean, for you to understand what to do next. That's a 10-minute video. Hopefully it wasn't too long. I'm sorry if it was too long. I'm trying to make this as condensed as possible. I will be taking some pictures of what I do so that I can kind of help y'all with that too. Again, take your time looking at this. Block out the shapes. Look at the picture. Look at the objects. Each object. Make sure when you're drawing them, you make sure you put them in the places they need to go. If you got this thing here in this spot, don't draw it over here. Okay? Try to get it in a similar place as it would be in the picture. Okay? If the picture says it's here, do the same thing in your paper. Put it right there. Okay? Put it right there. Anyways, I'm done. I'm Mr. Trutman. Hopefully this was helpful. Peace. I'm out. Enjoy your night.